Oh, look at the size of this potato. That is a beautiful Norland red. Look at that. A couple of weeks ago, we harvested our first ever potatoes grown in bags indoors. And we were really happy with the results. From one plant, we got about 1.5 pounds of potatoes. And now we're really excited to come in here and harvest the potatoes grown in our indoor raised bed. Guten Yardening, everybody. One of the challenges that's going to be there for us as we're trying to harvest these potatoes from the raised bed is that we have a large variety of other vegetables that we're growing on the other side. So we have to make sure as we come in here and see what kind of treasure we've got buried underneath this soilless mix, that we actually don't disturb the roots or try our best not to disturb the roots of our radicchio and some of the other vegetables here. For the most part, it shouldn't be a problem, but I'm really excited to get in here and see exactly how these developed. Over the past couple of months, we've just let these potatoes take care of themselves here in this raised bed as they've grown up, flowered, and now died back completely. Now, I'd like to do a comparison between what we did in the grow bag and in this raised bed, but because there are far more plants here than there are there, we're not going to be able to do necessarily a weight comparison. But in terms of side by side, I think what we can do is look at the size of what comes out of here and see just how they compared. Let's get in up close and see what kind of harvest we got. Now, one of the nice things about working in this soilless potting mix is this is a really easy mixture to move around and to work with. So I'm just going to start by, oh, look here. I'm going to start by spreading back, just moving back this top layer, and we're already seeing, look at this, all these potatoes right up here, right underneath the surface. Now you'll notice that this mix is really dry. Here at the very end, we didn't really do much of any watering because we didn't want any kind of rotting to occur. Look at this. Okay, so I'm going to go in here, just uncovering the top little bit here, and we're going to start getting right underneath here. Oh, look at the size of this potato. That is a beautiful Norland red. Look at that. Oh my. Okay, so what we need to do, I'm going to come in here. Oh, they're already detached. Well, some of these are already detached from the plant. And so I felt that first one wasn't detached, but these last three have been. Right here at the surface, we've got 4 beautiful Norland reds. You can see again this one where it was attached. The other 3 had already come off. So again, that's another reason why we stopped watering, just in case this was happening. We didn't want any kind of rotting to occur. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come right over here to the potato plant itself. I don't think much is going to come out whenever I pull like this because these are so dead. I don't see how anything could have stayed attached, except right here where we have the seed potato. This is one of the seed potatoes that we grew from our harvest last year. So this is a Norland red from last year that fed whatever grew underneath. And now I'm going to come through here and I'm going to start digging up and see what we've got. Straight down from that plant, and there we go. There's the first one we pulled out separate from that top layer. Beautiful size. We'll come right down in here. Again, I want to avoid, I've got roots right here from some of my other vegetables, so I want to avoid that as much as I can as I dig down in here to see what else we've got. We've got about, I would say, 12 inches or so of this mix in here. I've been able to easily dig my way down, the whole way down in there, and I see there's nothing else down in here. This is a determinate variety, so it's not like we would expect a ton of depth out of it. But from our first plant, looks like we've got a half a dozen or so potatoes. And again, we didn't really work very hard to go very far in this direction. And as I start to uncover over here, I can see there are more, and these are, again, a really nice size. Look how shiny this one is. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pull these plants out, pull the potato plants out themselves, get them out of the way. So what I have here is just a nice surface for me to work through. And I've got my trusty red container, which is what we used last time. So I can go ahead and put the ones that I've already harvested in there to keep them safe from damage. We'll keep that out of the way. And I do want to point out that we also planted another variety in here. Oh, there we go. So you should be able to see a few of these beautiful yellow potatoes in here as well as we get into the digging. But we'll see what comes next. Oh, look at this. Look at what we're seeing right in here. Oh, you see those ants? Now this is something really interesting. There's a whole bunch of ants down here in this corner. For those of you who live in the southern states and have to deal with your fire ants, these are not fire ants. These are common, what we call black ants or house ants up here. And I'm not sure how they got in the raised bed. And we have problems with ants outdoors. Fortunately for us, here we go, you can see them crawling around a little bit here. Now, fortunately for us, these ants don't come in and they don't eat up our vegetables like a red ant, a fire ant would do. But they are annoying, and we've got to figure out how they got in here. That being said, I think we're going to have to come in here and spread some DE afterward to get rid of them. And let's keep digging down in here and see. Oh, there we go. There's another one of these beautiful yellow potatoes. No green on them, and they've been easy to keep covered in here underneath these grow lights. So that's simple, so we don't have to worry about any of those kinds of issues. You can see the strings that we have in place up top here, and they're just used to hold the plants up, because if we didn't, they would have settled onto everything else that we were trying to grow over this winter season. So I'm going to go ahead and get these plants completely removed now so we can see what else is left in the bed. All right, I got the plants removed. I did save this one little plant right here. This is what's left of the bush beans that we planted right alongside, so that they could act for the next season as a nitrogen fixer. Just in general, they're a good companion plant for potatoes anyway, but this is what's left of them. I know we might even be able to harvest a few bean seeds out of this one since it dried out. Let's see. Let's open it up. Yeah, there's some nice bean seeds in here. If we want to, we could save these to plant in a future garden. All right, we have about half of a bed left to look into to see what's growing in here. I have noticed that the yellow potatoes, as beautiful as they are, do seem to be a little bit smaller even than the red potatoes. We haven't seen a ton in terms of quantity. Oh, we're back to the reds over here. So we have these potatoes sort of staggered as we planted them. We have mixtures here. Oh, there's the first little hint of green on here. For those of you that don't know, this green is caused when the light hits the potato, and we had covered up all the other ones. It looks like this one somehow escaped a little bit. And this is an area of a potato that you don't want to eat. If you ate enough of it, it would probably make you sick. It's not going to do anything if you have just a little bit here and there, but this is something that's not healthy for you. It's a reaction with the sun that you don't want to mess with. All right, I feel something right down in here. Oh, there we go. That's a nice potato. I'll take a couple more of those. Those are a little bit deeper down. But what I can already say is that in terms of yield, what we got from our single bag, our grow bag, is definitely more. So I wasn't sure I'd be able to do a comparison, but it was definitely more in terms of quantity per area per plant. But the big potatoes, or the bigger potatoes, that size, are definitely larger than the ones we got in the grow bags. So while we may have gotten more quantity, and we're still getting some of these smaller potatoes, we're definitely getting a few bigger potatoes in here as well. Now, maybe part of that, the reason why we're getting some of the bigger potatoes than we got in the grow bag, is simply because they lasted a little bit longer before they died back the whole way. So there's probably more time for the plants to mature. But that being said, I'm still enjoying this harvest. Even if it's not a massive number of potatoes, we're still getting some nice potatoes out of here. And this is the experience that we love so much, coming in here, exploring around just to see what might be underneath all of this. That's that digging for treasure piece. And it's hard to be disappointed when you're pulling up delicious potatoes. Looks like we're a little bit farther over. What do we got? Oh, that's probably our biggest yellow potato so far. That's a nice size. And look at these. The skin is in perfect condition. One of the things we had a challenge with last year in our outdoor growing system, even though we harvested a couple 100 pounds of potatoes, we had a lot of potato scab, and you can see that is not the case here. I'm not going to mess with the skin too much. We're not going to wash these off until we're ready to use them, but I think you can see the skin on this is absolutely perfect. All right, this side of our raised bed is fully harvested. There's nothing else in there. I've gone through a couple of times to check. The potatoes are all out, and what this means is that even though it is warm outside, we are going to plant our next crop in here. What do you think it should be? because we're going to keep growing all summer long indoors as well as outdoors to maximize that space. And our harvest is actually pretty nice. If you take a look in here, we've got some really good size to our potatoes, and we're enjoying what this potentially means for the future growing of potatoes indoors. I think we can definitely do a lot better, and really these have got us just excited for the outdoor growing season and what's going to come over the next couple of months when we're finally ready to harvest our bigger crops outdoors. All right, what you see on the screen right now is a side-by-side comparison between the two harvests, and what you notice is that the size of the potatoes from the raised bed harvest we just put in here are definitely bigger, but in terms of overall quantity, I think our bag of potatoes actually did better. But that being said, we have a lot to look forward to, and we're so glad you joined us for this harvest, and there's plenty more to come. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.